My name's Jen. I'm one of the regional directors for the Marketing Centre. My background is not in AI. I don't claim to be an AI expert. I spent the last couple of years upskilling myself on artificial intelligence, really, in the knowledge that actually we will be replaced by AI, some of us probably, in the future. I want to talk through really a few bits and pieces. There's two key aspects that I want to kind of get over to everybody. There will be some people in the room that are quite knowledgeable about AI. I suspect the vast majority won't be. There's two really important things that you need to take away from today. One is sitting on your hands and doing nothing is not a good option. Going back to the businesses that you're leading, working in, and doing something to advance your business will be a really, really powerful thing to do. So if you take just those two things out of today, that would be really, really useful. We'll talk a little bit about background to AI and why it's important and why it's changing and what the implications might be. And then a few practical bits and pieces of stuff that you might actually do, take back to the business and start to implement. Just as a show of kind of hands, I always like to kind of find out, are there smarter people in the audience than me? Is there anybody in the audience that is working in what I would describe as an AI firm? I know I had one of our speakers, so there's a couple of people, maybe 3 people. What about people that have got kind of AI pilot projects maybe running across a department or 2? So that's perhaps a third of the room. Is anybody doing nothing in AI? Be honest. So that's there's 1 or 2 people in the room that are doing nothing of it. Okay. So my job really is to try and advance the people that are doing nothing to start taking some action, the people that are doing something to progress that. The people that are already working in AI businesses, you can probably speak next time we're doing this. I guess a good place to start is, what is AI? Most people, when I ask the kind of question, what is AI? In their heads, they think ChatGPT, Gemini. They think large language models. So when somebody asks the question, can AI help me in this problem or this challenge that we've got in the business? They think, can ChatGPT do this or help me in this? And large language models are not the answer for everything. They are like the poster boy of artificial intelligence. They are the David Beckham in the 90s of artificial intelligence. And they've been really good because they brought artificial intelligence to the forefront of, that's why there's 60% of people in this room today. But it's a very, very small part of what artificial intelligence is. And the bit that people are really missing is the other bits, and get to what they are at and how they can really help your businesses. When people start to understand that, then they start to really understand the impact that AI is going to have in businesses. So the AI systems, they learn really quickly. So you give them loads of data, but they learn. They start to reason and cogitate. To anybody that's read Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, if you've not read it, it's a great book. That book talks about how our brains work. System 1 and System 2. The System 1, ask it a question and give you an answer really quickly. So ChatGPT, up until 6 or 8 months ago, ask it a question, it'll give you a really quick answer. System 2, it'll think about it. So the reasoning models now that are embedded in some of the large language models will start to think about those questions. The latest deep research functionality, has anybody used the deep research functionality either in Gemini or ChatGPT? I could see 1 or 2 of your heads. I mean, that is phenomenal. I mean, there's 2 things that you need to do for today. A third is, you should be using the paid version of whichever large language model you're using. Go and look at the deep research functionality. That is staggering, the outputs that you can kind of get from that. It solves problems. So a great example, the chap, Dennis Hazzabis, who's the chief exec of Google DeepMind, he won and his team won a Nobel Prize for chemistry, 2022, I think it was, that mapped out 3D proteins from amino acids. That was a problem that the kind of biology world had faced for ages. Artificial intelligence has solved that. He won a Nobel Prize for chemistry. He's not a chemist. In the same year, the Nobel Prize for physics was won by another AI team, nothing to do with physics. So it's solved problems already. And the problems that we've all got in business, supply chain issues, people problems, whatever they might be, artificial intelligence can help us solve all those problems. It can perceive. So Milton Keynes at the moment is testing autonomous, anybody from Milton Keynes, anybody? It's testing autonomous buses. That seems quite scary to me. You get on a bus, they're tested. They started in January to define routes. They've got people on to oversee it, only because people are so scared that if there's no job to bus, nobody will get on it. It's not because they mean it, it's just because they know people just won't get on the bus. So that's happening. If you're driving a Tesla, that's all that data that's being brought in from various kind of sensors and cameras and it's perceiving stuff. It can even detect emotional intelligence. So these things are not intelligent really, or it's just the data them fed, but they can perceive our emotional intelligence. They can learn from that and then they can simulate their own emotional intelligence. So there are systems now that are looking in mental health settings where they are recording interviews from people and they're detecting cues from emotional responses of people that they can then start to diagnose issues and head them off before they become a real problem. But the description on the right hand side is probably a good kind of starting point of what AI really is. It's about making things a bit smarter than it is now. And when I carry technology, and this is really new, and you know Sarah's demonstrated, it's a bit like the Wild West at the moment. But lots of these big AI firms are seeking forgiveness at some point in the future for what they're doing now, scribbling away money in the knowledge that actually they'll probably end up in court and have to pay people at some point. But with all new technologies, there's an uneven distribution of that, whether it's gold, oil, wealth, technology, knowledge, understanding. There's always an uneven distribution of that, and today we've got a real uneven distribution. Probably 95% of the knowledge about AI is in the States. A lot's in China these days as well, but in our kind of community, generally speaking, the knowledge is pretty low. So people are making decisions about AI from a pretty low knowledge base. Today's talk really is about how you use it to gain competitive advantage. So the use of AI, a lot of it is about how do you become more efficient and more productive, how do you produce stuff that you might not produce, but actually businesses that really understand it and can start to embed it in their business will either amplify their existing competitive advantage or they will create a completely new one. That will only be driven by people that really understand it. So the understanding bit is, and AI literacy is the number one, lack of AI literacy is the number one limiting factor in all businesses, I think, globally, not just in this country. If you don't understand it, you're never going to accept it. So that understanding is driven by knowledge. So some people will go back to college, they won't learn and they won't understand it. If I was running my own business, the first thing I'd do is I would recruit knowledge into that business. So these people that have got this knowledge, they will be, immensely financially rewarded in the future because they will be so desired into kind of business. So getting that knowledge and understanding into your business, I think, is a primary task for most businesses kind of going forward. And what will it mean? It's not my phrase, but AI forward businesses that ask themselves the question fundamentally, can AI help me in this area, with this problem, with this challenge? If you don't understand it, you can't answer the question. Or if you try and answer the question, you will always think ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini. So becoming a business that always asks itself that question and uses AI to create, deliver, capture, scale, innovate, Those are the businesses that we're going to create competitive advantage. And the vast majority of businesses, I've met hundreds of businesses over the last 6 or 8 months, the vast majority of businesses are still at the ChatGPT stage. So the opportunity, if you grasp it and understand it, is massive. I wanted to kind of map out, and this is a bit of a false chart really, because it doesn't map it out in really the ways it should do, but it's a way that I think is easy to kind of digest and understand. So that question of what is AI, people automatically think about generative AI, the stuff, the poster boy of kind of artificial intelligence, when actually the stuff on the right-hand side is probably the stuff that we might have heard of, but it's probably not that well understood in business. So actually, all of these things, they're all actually forms of machine learning in some way, shape or form. But if you think about all of those solutions and what the applications, so then could be applications in your business right now. But if we don't fundamentally understand what machine learning is and what reinforcement learning is and what natural language processing is, and you don't have to know the depths of it, you don't need to be the AI engineer or the data scientist, but you need to understand what the applications of these things are and the basics of how they work. So actually the life-changing or the career-changing moment for me was kind of understanding what are these things and where are the applications for these things. So when I'm in a business, thinking that's a great solution for that. And this issue that they've got here that they've been trying to deal with by chucking more people at it and more Excel spreadsheets, and that could be a solution for that problem. Once you start to understand what all these things really are, and that takes a bit of education, or you go by the ecology. You get somebody in the business that understands how, whether it's an employee or consultants or agents or whatever it might be. Hadja, I'm sure, could probably come and help you with some of those issues. If you've not had that knowledge in the building, you'll never be able to understand it. You'll therefore never be able to access it, and you'll never see the kind of solutions that are there for all. I want to spend a couple of minutes just talking where we are on the journey for artificial intelligence. So November 2022 was a kind of watershed moment. OpenAI launched ChatGPT. The box was opened, the world changed, and we are where we are now. We're all sat in this room trying to understand where we are with artificial intelligence. This was published by OpenAI, so the OpenAI is the business behind ChatGPT. They published this, I think, about 18 months ago, and it was an attempt to show the world really where we were up to in terms of the evolution of artificial intelligence. So the term artificial intelligence was coined, I think in the 40s or 50s, maybe early 50s, and it took us from that point to 2022 to get to level 1. So what's that, I don't know, 60 years, 70 years, something like that. We got to level 2 within a couple of years after that. We're entering level 3 now. Some people say we're already past kind of level 3. We're talking a lot about agents and agentic AI, and I know Brian and Hadja are going to talk about and demonstrate some of those examples. It's already starting to innovate. So it's already starting to kind of join the dots between different technologies and different knowledge bases. That means it can start to kind of connect the dots and start to innovate. The top bit, organizational AI, that's where you've got entire organizations that are just AI agents. You give it a purpose and a name. You've got an AI chief exec. You've got an AI senior team. You've got an AI set of deliverers. You've got your quality control, AI people. That's actually sounds like something off Star Wars or something like that. But let's not that fuck away, honestly. That will come when we get to what is AGI. So artificial general intelligence is actually, and there's, like there is no description or definition of what artificial intelligence is. There's not really definition of what AGI is. What AGI effectively is when these things become better than any human that can be. We're not that far away from it. That if you listen to all of the commentators, predominantly coming from the kind of US, they're talking about a year or 2 or 3, maybe 5, but it's no longer than that. We're not talking about decades to kind of get to this stage. There's some people think it's already here, we've already got it, but it's here, it's coming. But, what is artificial general intelligence? There is no definition of what it really is. Here's some kind of examples. Effectively, it's when these tools, these technology becomes smarter than do. And actually, it's not just smarter at one thing, it's everything. So it's the smartest physicist, the smartest chemist, the smartest engineer, the smartest lawyer, the smartest everything kind of wrapped up in one. When we get to that, kind of the things that those things are going to be able to kind of create and do, it'll be, scary in some aspects. I think there's a lot, the world of work is going to change dramatically, I think, in the next year or 3. I'm already seeing examples where big, large tech firms are standing people down. I think Microsoft announced 4% of workforce that they were making redundant 2 or 3 weeks ago. They didn't explicitly say they will be replaced by AI agents, but they are absolutely, because they're all developers, coders that they're making redundant. AI is amazing. The latest model that was dropped, I think yesterday or the day before, from Anthropic, amazing kind of coding ability that can do it 10 times quicker and 5 times better. That's absolutely going to come in waves and spades and new equipment and disrupt the world of work quite quickly, I think. We're on an exponential path to kind of growth. So if you think about only back in kind of 2016 probably, that was I think there's probably been a couple of watershed moments in this. 2016 was one. 2022 when ChatGPT was launched was another. Maybe 2017 as well. So the architecture, transformer architecture in 2017 that was developed by the team from, I think, DeepMind. Yeah. That's absolutely kind of driven all the large language models developed over the last kind of year or 3. This slide's out of date already. So the activity in this year from all of these kind of large AI firms, frankly, is phenomenal. And what we've got in the market now, what they've got is probably a factor of 5 times better than is actually available in the market now. AGI that I talked about before, in less than 5 years, artificial superintelligence, which we won't even get into today, but is a level above that in kind of 10 years. We're in a period of readjustment. It's happening really quickly. I mean, quicker than any other technology or human change. This is happening quicker than we probably want it to happen, and probably quicker than we can kind of process it. That's why sitting on your hands and hoping that you'll kind of figure it out a year or 5 is probably not a good idea. Figure it out now would be my strong recommendation. Here's probably what might happen. Again, my crystal ball's as good as yours, but definitely, just the previous slide, so advancements in generative AI are coming so quickly. So the Google Developer Conference I/O was, I think, last week, and Gemini, they've just introduced some new products and features within Gemini. The video generation capabilities in the top paid version, which I think is $250 a month, something like that. It's like Hollywood style quality. only short at the moment, only 5, 6, 7 seconds, something like that. But the causing it is just phenomenal, amazing. So in another year or two, that 5 or 6 seconds will be 5 or 6 minutes. And in another year or 3, it'll be, I'll be James Bond in my own movie from it. Why are we all laughing? That's not such a... multimodal, so multimodal is effectively, it's video, it's text, it's speech, it's code, so that it's taking its inputs from various different modes of data. Gemini, as an example, is built multimodal. ChatGPT is not. ChatGPT 5, which I expect to drop this year sometime, that will be the kind of full multimodal large language model from OpenAI. That will develop, the ability to take in different forms of data, structured and unstructured data into these things, and output in different modes, again, will be a theme that kind of going forward. We're going to see an explosion of agents. So the dreadful, awful website bots that we've all tried to engage with on our insurance websites, or that's not what these are going to be, and I'll more preempt what Hadra and Brian will show us that. But I've already built agents in clients that I'm working in now that help with their customer service function and sales departments. We will see a real explosion of that side of artificial intelligence. Robotics, if I had any money to invest, I would be invested in robotics, and that's not financial advice. But robotics is going to be a huge explosion in the next kind of year or 5. I keep telling my kids, we'll have robots in the house. We could probably do with one now just to keep their bedrooms clean and keep the cutlery flowing from their bedroom down into the kitchen. But robotics is going to be massive. I mean, huge. The investment, if you look at the private equity and VC numbers going into robotics in the US, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's unprecedented, the number of, the amount of investment that's going into that supply chain. Because they understand, actually, the AI developments are going to drive that. So I probably won't have a robot in the house. My kids definitely will. Your kids, without a shadow of a doubt. That's just going to be a thing. We'll see the emergence of AGI, and then there's other stuff that actually I've got no idea about. Some of these AI firms probably understand it and will have some of that stuff in-house that they're working on or developing on that will wake up. On the time frame, we're not talking about decades, and this is in all our kind of working lives. This is kind of going to happen. Where's it going to drive advancements in kind of business? So there is, I can't think of any area of business where artificial intelligence is not going to be impactful in a positive way. Might be a negative way if that's your job. If you're a customer service agent, if you're a coder, these are jobs that are going to be disrupted quite quickly. The deep research functionality, put this prompt in, this will be really all. I am whatever your job is. What's going to be the impact of AI on my job in the next 10 years? It'll fight you to death, depending on what your job title is. It's going to drive automation efficiency. It's already, decision making is quicker, faster, better. Having the ability to have a little agent that is amazing at strategy, amazing at operations management, that you can talk to, bounce the questions off it. A lot of SME businesses, you might only have 1 or 2 real kind of experts in the business. Actually, the ability to kind of feed it your information as well, and make it your agent, that's going to be really powerful. Customer experience agents that will do that. Strategic planning, it's going to help us grow the business. If you've got a CRM system, almost certainly AI is embedded into that now, that's going to drive sales performance. Product development, we talked about already, the ability to connect the dots between different kind of data. And it's going to be a efficient resource management. I've seen organizational charts already with AI agents on them. That's just going to be a thing in the future. What the hell are you going to do about it? Probably the question that everybody's kind of asking themselves. Here's a really basic plan that you might kind of think about to help you embed some of this stuff into your kind of businesses. I would say the first thing to do is to start getting some project running. That might be something as simple as the ChatGPT Pro version for your marketing team to help you with their content strategy. That might be as simple as that. Or it might be working with something like Hadger to help you resolve supply chain issues. Getting those projects running in the business is really important, and I'll tell you why. You need an in-house AI team. I know everybody's kind of thinking, what? We're a team of 30 people, we can't have an AI team. I guarantee you, in the next 3 or 4 years, every business will have an AI function. So I met a business 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, and in the room was the senior team and the IT manager. And I said to the MD, I said, if we were having a conversation about what they should do in terms of AI, and I said to him, I said, if we were having this conversation 40 years ago, this IT person wouldn't have been in the room because that function didn't really exist. Now you can't run your business without an IT function of some description. AI is going to be that, but it's going to happen really quickly. So everybody will need AI expertise in the business. You need to train people. So that AI literacy bit in more businesses is completely missing. I think that, a great example, Microsoft Copilot, don't run the number, it's something like 90% of Copilot subscriptions are unused. Because nobody knows what to do with it. So you kind of give the guys an amazing toolbox of stuff you can use and think, I've got more idea how to very use this. So training people is really important. Develop a strategy. We'll get to wire-ups later on in the module, and then communicate about it. Because it's going to be impactful internally in your business and externally in your business. What I want to do is look at it. So the aim of this is about how do I use AI to create competitive advantage. So this is a resource-based view of what competitive advantage really is or could be. It's not a bit, so if you have got what is described as a sustainable competitive advantage, you've got something in the eyes of your customers or prospective customers. It's valuable. It's rare. Ideally, it's only you that's got it. You can't imitate it, or it's difficult to imitate, and your organization can pull it off, whatever that is. You can deliver it. If you've got all 4 of them, you've got sustainable competitive advantage. So that's a framework to kind of look through a lens of how do I use artificial intelligence to either amplify whatever competitive advantage I've got now. So if you think about your own business, where does it fit there? Have you got any competitive advantage? Lots of businesses don't. Don't know if I go with these 5. So most businesses haven't. They just got good people, decent product, graphing hard. But if you can find that, you actually will have a business that is likely to kind of grow. That's just a lens to look through. Once you understand what artificial intelligence really is, that's a really powerful lens to be able to look through to say, how do I use artificial intelligence to find something that's valuable or rare or all of those things. If you use AI to try to generate or amplify the stuff that you've got already, you probably have a good chance of being a sustainable business kind of going forward. And the projects bit, so these are just examples of kind of projects that might be applicable in your businesses. And they're enough for all there will be others, and I'm sure Hadger and Brian might talk about others. Getting those projects money is really important. One, they're going to have value to the business, no doubt about it. The other thing that's really important, I think probably more important, is actually it's going to educate you and your business and your people. So anybody that's working in those projects is going to become a lot smarter and understand artificial intelligence. And you need to build a team. And that team might be, to get you going, one person, 2 days a week, and that person's interested in AI, and you're going to train them, and you're going to send them away, and you're going to give them a couple of 100 hours of kind of artificial intelligence training, and they become your artificial intelligence team. It might be external people, it might be people like Hadja that become your in-house outsourced AI team to bring that experience and knowledge into the business. And that's quite complex. That's a business that might have 2 or 3 or 4 business units, but ultimately you need expertise to help you kind of make those decisions. And AI training is absolutely the foundational bit of all of this. If you don't train people, I kind of ask a lot of people, what's in the budget of training people? We've always got, Excel training, and we've got a PowerPoint session, so actually sitting down with your development HR people to kind of say, what does this education program look like for our business? That would be really important. I'm not going to read all that, and I don't expect you to. You get the deck. That's an example of what it might look like in a business. So the fundamental blockers for AI adoption and progression in a business are you lot. It's the leadership too. And I've faced it in businesses that I've worked in when I've been to the MD, all in business there. We could do this, we could do that. Just got other stuff to do. I've got this Excel thing to look at. So actually, the senior team, the owners, the leadership team, they're the people that need training as well. They don't need the 100 hours of training, but they need to understand it a little bit. So your divisional leaders or your heads of departments might get a bit more training than you get, and your operational people might even get more training than them. But having a plan is fundamental. The strategy bit comes almost at the end. But normally, strategy would come at the beginning. But actually, nobody understands it at the moment, really. But you said some people, let's build a strategy, kind of scratch their head a little bit. Actually, when you start to get knowledge, you create that literacy, you start to run those pilot projects, you gain knowledge from them, you start to then be able to form the semblance of what your AI strategy might be in the business. And the last bit, which is probably not important now, but will be in a period of time when this technology starts to be impactful on people, you need a communication plan. Because if we're going to grow the business, it might be we don't need as many people. It might be we'll need different types of people. It might be we need to upskill some of our existing people and their job might not exist in a year or 5. But you're going to be doing this. So you need to communicate internally and externally with your kind of key stakeholders on who is going to be impacted by all of this. I'm on LinkedIn. I accept most requests. I hope it's been useful. Thank you.